I want to become city court judge because I have an undying desire to give back to my community, the community that has given so much to my family and I. I would also want to be able to use my experience and try to help our community become a better community. It's a community that I love. It's a community that I've lived in my entire life. It's a community that my wife and I have raised our family in. You know, I was born here into a family of restaurateurs, and for those old enough to remember, they owned the Checkerboard restaurant out on West Main Street Road. That's where I learned my work ethic. I mopped floors, peeled potatoes, did what was necessary to help my family in that business. And I think that translates very well, that work ethic that I've carried with me for my entire career, working many hours in my legal practice, my private practice of law, translates very well into relating to people as they come into the city court, maybe for the first time before the judiciary, for whatever the case might be, whether it be a small civil case or a criminal case. And I believe that my ability to sit there and relate to them will help us in this community have a better and safer community. My thoughts in forcing a primary were, as I studied my entry into this campaign and while I was being encouraged by people to run, how to run it on a fair and impartial basis. And I looked around the state of New York and found that in other jurisdictions, most other jurisdictions, they run it on a nonpartisan, non-political basis, and thereby allow you, under election law, to petition all parties. Whatever party you want to petition, you can petition and get on the ballot in the primary. I chose to do that because I didn't want to make this a political race. I thought that a judicial race should be decided by the individual candidate's character, their legal experience, their education, their commitment to their community, all the things that would traditionally be considered when you look to vote for a judge, because we cannot talk about positions. So a primary sets itself up beautifully for a community such as ours to look at those characteristics and decide on that basis alone. Unfortunately, my opponent decided only to primary a couple of lines, thereby making this a highly politicized race. My takeaway from all of this is that I've coalesced a portion of this community, not in my party, that will carry forward with me into the general election, and I am confident that when they do vote for me, and I am able to gather the votes with the political parties that were not primary, that I'll prevail in this election. The biggest difference between my opponent and I is that I have been a practicing attorney for 37 years, practicing in the sense that I've handled murder trials on down. My opponent, on the other hand, has been a government employee. I have the ability to stand before a jury, and that will translate to allowing me to be a judge on the bench to handle jury trials when they come before me. Well, some of the endorsements that my opponent has received I feel are inappropriate. As a judicial candidate, and one who has to be an independent thinker once he takes the bench, to be endorsed by, for example, the sheriff and the probation department and the mental health department manager. Those individuals are in unique positions within the criminal justice system. So as a judge, will my opponent think about those endorsements when he has an individual in front of him and has to mete out a sentence to that individual? If he's received an endorsement from the probation department and it's a marginal case, will he send him to the probation department anyway, because as a matter of budgetary concern, numbers dictate? Is there going to be one hand takes care of the other issue here? And that's what concerns me about those types of middle management political endorsements that my opponent has received. The people of the city of Batavia should vote for Ben Bonarigo, because that's a vote that they will be proud of. They will have a judge that will be fair and impartial in all cases, blind to political process, and will be the kind of judge that will sit in fairness to all people, all citizens of this community, not just those that politically support him. I have blinders on, and it doesn't matter who you are when you come before me. All the rules will apply equally to you as they will to everyone else. A vote for Ben Bonarigo will be a vote for a judge who is committed and dedicated to working hard every day to make Batavia a better and safer place for all.